Does she think she's flying into a war zone or something? That's what I heard the woman in the red pantsuit whisper as soon as I stepped into the business class cabin. Her voice was sharp, amused, like she thought she was saying something clever. I didn't even look at her. I just walked straight to seat 13C, dropped into it, and kept my hand firmly wrapped around the strap of my old canvas backpack. Same one I've carried for years. Same weight. Same ghost. The jacket I was wearing was beat-up camo, a little faded around the cuffs. My pants smashed. Not trying to make a statement, just, this is what I wear. But to the polished crowd sipping white wine and scrolling their emails, I might as well have shown up with blood on my boots. As I was settling in, I bent down to stow my bag, and that's when the patch slipped into view. Black snake coiled around a broken arrow. Most people wouldn't recognize it, and those who did probably thought it was a myth by now. Viper Echo was erased from every record 6 years ago, and for good reason. We were the last call when things got unfixable. But people like that woman in the pantsuit didn't care. They just saw someone in boots they didn't like. The flight attendant came over, thin guy with a too-tight smile, and he leaned in close, like I had a ticking clock on my chest. Are you carrying any sharp objects? He asked. Real calm. Real polite. But his eyes were already suspicious. I said nothing. Just kept my hand on my bag, and let him walk away with whatever story he wanted to build in his head. The teenage girl across the aisle, buds, pink phone case, chewing gum like it owed her money, snorted and whispered to her mom, look at her boots. Did she crawl out of a dumpster? And the mom didn't even look up. Just flipped her magazine and said, some people really don't belong in business class. I heard it. Every word. Didn't flinch. Just adjusted the strap and let the patch peek out a little more. You ever notice how people love tearing down strangers when they think no one's listening? Like it gives them a little thrill to say something nasty. Doesn't even have to be true. Just has to sting. Anyway, the plane took off, and I sat there, staring out the window like I always do, letting their judgment float right past me. I wasn't here to impress anybody. I sure as hell wasn't looking for conversation. Truth is, I used to be one of them. Family money. Private schools. Designer everything. But somewhere along the way, I realized no amount of polish ever made people less cruel. Sometimes it made them worse. Then came the beep. Just one sharp, mechanical. Real quiet, but loud enough to cut through the hum of the cabin. My backpack gave it off. Immediately, the guy next to me, a tech bro in a Patagonia vest, jerked his head around. What was that? He snapped, real loud, like he caught me doing something illegal. Karen in the pantsuit, yeah, she leaned all the way forward like she'd been waiting for the moment. That's not normal, she said, eyes locked on my bag. What if she's got something dangerous? Then came the flight attendant again, this time with no charm. Mom, we are going to have to see your bag. I didn't argue. I unzipped it slow, pulled out the detector. Big, clunky thing, military grade, discontinued, scratched to hell. The kind of tech you don't find unless you are once somewhere no one wants to be. The older flight attendant, the one with gray streaks in her hair and quiet eyes, stepped forward. She saw the device and froze. Not scared. Not confused. Just still. Where did you get that? She asked me, real soft. It's mine. Her jaw clenched, but she didn't ask more. She whispered something into her headset and motioned me toward the front. That's when things really started cooking. Passengers were hissing, some loud, some under their breath. What is she doing up there? Why is she going to the cockpit? Is she hijacking the plane? A man with slicked back hair and too much cologne stood up in front of me, arms crossed like a bouncer. You don't just stroll into the cockpit dressed like a mercenary, he said with a sneer. I looked at him once. Step aside. He moved. Funny how fast they fold when you don't blink. Inside, I told the captain to check the pressure system. Showed him exactly where the defect was. Same type that brought down the Shadow Orbit flight 8 years ago. Same glitch. Same sound. That time, almost no one survived. That time, I was the only one who crawled out of the wreckage. He ran the diagnostic, and sure enough, same flaw. The co-pilot's hand started shaking. If she hadn't caught that, he muttered. They fixed it. No fanfare. No announcement. I went back to my seat. You'd think after that, people might chill. They didn't. If anything, it got worse. Why is she still on the plane? Someone barked. She made us all unsafe. Another guy was live streaming my face, whispering into his phone like he was covering a breaking story. This woman right here just got into the cockpit with some military junk. What's really going on here? The only person who wasn't looking at me like I was a problem was this little boy in row 11. No older than 10, holding a toy plane. He leaned over the armrest, eyes wide. Are you a soldier? He asked. I pulled out my dog tag, let it dangle for a second. I said. That was enough for him. His mom yanked him back like I'd handed him a grenade. Then the captain stepped out. He stood right in the middle of the aisle and said it clear, loud enough for every smug whisper to die in its throat. This woman is Viper Echo 6. She found the flaw in our system that could have brought us down. She just saved your lives. The silence that followed was thick. Nobody reached for their champagne after that. Karen wasn't done, of course. Even if that's true, she said, lips tight, she made people uncomfortable. That matters too. You know what? Maybe it does. Maybe being judged by strangers matters. Maybe being told you don't belong because you don't wear the right shoes or smile at the right time. Maybe that sticks. But maybe that's also why some of us stopped caring a long time ago. We landed with no fanfare. No sirens. Just 2 rows of soldiers standing on the tarmac, saluting. A colonel stepped forward, looked me in the eye, and said, Viper Echo 6, welcome home. I grabbed my pack and walked off the plane, didn't look back. Didn't need to. Funny thing, after the footage hit the internet, it all flipped. Karen's firm fired her. The livestream guy lost every sponsor he had. The tech bros tweets became a meme. And the rest? Well, I'm sure they all went back to their wine and gossip, pretending nothing happened. Me? I got a letter from command a week later. Handwritten. Thanked me for saving 183 lives. I folded it, tucked it next to my tag, and didn't show it to anyone. Sometimes silence is the loudest thing you can offer the world. And maybe that's what this story is about. Not the glitch. Not the plane. But what we choose to see in each other when fear shows up. How quick we are to decide who's worth trusting and who isn't. What would you have done if you were on that flight? Would you have believed the woman in the booth? Or joined the mob whispering behind your drinks? I'm not looking for applause. But I'd love to know where you stand. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about fear, judgment, and the cost of jumping to conclusions.